Probably everyone with a business email address has received at least one cold outreach email in their inbox. Here is just one example that I received today. Hi, I am reaching out to see if there's anything that would like to upgrade, repair, or redesign on your site. I am a web designer and developer that can do just about anything you can imagine at an affordable price. Let me know what you think. Followed up by, of course, I was wondering if you had the chance to see my email. Well, I did have the chance to see your email and I choose to ignore it. And there are a couple of reasons for that. But these emails are quite often, and often people are questioning if email marketing is actually worth it, because if they do a campaign like this, usually it doesn't have the expected results. Now, there are a couple of reasons why this is not the best way to go about your email marketing. For one, I never subscribe to these emails. I've never requested any information from this person. Second, it's not really personalized. It's very generic. Maybe if they would have added in an example of my website or put in the effort to actually redesign part of it or say hey, this color might be better for your website, that would already be a lot better. Third, it is not providing any value for me. So they are not including anything I can do to improve my website or be more specific about anything that they want to do. And of course, this is really bad for their email domain as well, because if you send out a lot of emails like these, chances are that people will mark them as spam, or that even an email server will automatically mark them as spam, making that less and less of your emails actually get to the people that you are sending them to. No, there is a better way to go about email marketing, and I'm happy to give you 5 tips today how you can make your email marketing better. So the first tip is keep a clean email list. One of the worst things that you can do is actually buy an email list somewhere, because these people are not expecting to hear from you. Sending emails to an email list that you actually bought will give you really bad results. It will ruin your domain, and basically it will just ruin your entire email marketing strategy right from the start. So we want to make sure that you have quality email addresses from people that actually want to hear from you, people that opted in on your website. And one of the great ways to do this is by providing immense value to people. So for example, when you wrote a blog post about a certain subject, you can create another document that goes deeper into this, or maybe a worksheet that people can actually work with, and add this as gated content to that blog post. So people reading that blog post and want to go a bit further into this content, they will have the option to download the extra document, but they would need to leave their email address in exchange for that. This is a great way to gather these email addresses, and these people will actually expect to hear from you. Also, make sure that you go through the next steps, because the emails you send them afterwards, it's really important that these are relevant as well. Next up, you should plan an email cleanup about every 6 months. Schedule it as a recurring task to go through all the contacts in your email list. You can also use some segmentation to bring up the contacts that might be ready to be purged. For example, filter all the contacts based on people who received the last 5 emails but didn't open or click on any of these emails. Once you have this list, given that email applications these days really focus on privacy features, it's best to still send these people an email asking if they want to keep receiving your emails. For example, since iOS 15, if people will open your emails using the Apple email app, you won't see it as an open in your email system. For these people, it will seem that they don't open your emails, but it could very well be that they are still opening and reading your emails, even though that it's not showing this in the statistics. Tip number 2, make sure to segment your contacts. One of the first things I actually learned in marketing is that relevance really is the key to success. And this is especially true for email marketing, because you can make things really relevant if you keep all the information in your CRM system up to date. Once we have segmented our email list, we want to make sure that we are not just sending one email to our entire database of email addresses, but we want to work with the segmentation. A couple of easy things that you can do to segment your list. A good place to start would be current customers, previous customers, maybe any VIPs or people who spend above a certain amount, people who bought in the last 30 days. These are all pretty interesting ways to segment your list. If you, for example, have an e-commerce store, you could also filter them on product category, because people who, for example, bought t-shirts might not specifically be interested in watches, or the other way around. So you also want to keep track of those things. And using this segmentation, you can make sure that all the content that you are sending to these people is really relevant to them. Every contact in your list has its own wants and needs, so you want to make sure that your emails are really tailored to this so that you can provide as much value as you can. Tip number 3 is writing a great subject line. You've segmented your list, and the next step is, guess what? Sending out your emails. And what will be the first thing that people see when you send them an email? Right, the subject line. So the subject line is really important, and we want the subject line to be as interesting as possible to get people to actually click on your email, open your email, read your email. Now, we also don't want to make it clickbait, because trying to fool people is probably the fastest way to get them running towards the exit. So we want our subject line to capture the subject of the email as good as possible without being too clickbaity. The subject line itself will also have a great impact on the open rates of your emails, so you want to pay some extra attention to that as well. It's a good idea to also always be testing your subject lines, maybe even with an A/B test for the same campaign. So you can say, for example, take 50% of your email list, send them 2 versions of the subject line, and then the subject line that has the highest open rate, that subject line will be used for the other 50% of your email list. This is one way of doing an A/B test, and make sure that people are actually opening your email. Tip number 4 is make sure that you're providing as much value as possible within your emails themselves. This step builds further on the previous step. So once people opened your email, you want to make sure that the content in the email is really valuable to them. A good test is, are you excited to receive this email, and would you be excited to read this email? If the answer is no, or maybe, please revisit your content and make sure that the value is really there. You should really know your contacts and know what their wants and needs are, the challenges they are experiencing, and really tailor your content around these things. Oh, also make sure that you are not selling in every single email. I see a lot of companies doing this and basically like trying to sell your products or services in every single email that they are sending out. This is probably not the greatest idea, especially not for a good email strategy. So you want to find a good balance between providing value to the contacts that you're sending these emails to and then actually trying to sell something to them. Last but not least, tip number 5, less is more. Still quite often I receive email newsletters from companies that are just packed with content, and the content is all over the place. Now, you gotta know that people on average receive around 120 business emails a day. That's a lot. Also, the average open rate for an email campaign is between 20 and 40%, and we want this number to be as high as possible. I don't know about you, but I try to keep my time in my inbox as low as possible. So when you are sending an email to people, they really want to see the value in there, and you really want to be concise in your email. So make sure that there's one clear subject and then write a nice, clean and concise email around this subject. It doesn't have to be long to be a good email. Shorter is really better in this case. So in short, first of all, don't do the cold outreach. And if you are doing cold outreach, make sure that you are doing it manually and that you really tailor it to the person that you're sending it to. Oh, and saying in your first email that you're going to provide the value if they answer your email, that's not providing value up front. So if you want to do this kind of emails, make sure that the value is there, that you've done your research on the subject, on the person that you're sending the email to, and make sure that the value is in there. This is probably one of the only ways to really grow your business with this kind of email. Next, tailor your email strategy around your emails being valuable, clear, and concise. And then send these emails to a well-segmented, clean list. This is, in short, in one sentence, the best way to go about your email strategy. Obviously, there goes a lot more into this than just this one sentence, but if you stick to these rules, you will already have a head start for your email strategy. Now, what's the best and what's the worst marketing email you have ever received? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.